Thank you for tuning in to Tackling Tomfoolery. I'm Malika Rogers.
I'm Francie Moore.
And I'm A.M. Lewis.
And today we are talking about bad dates. Some of that bullshit.
Jesus,
we're just going to each talk about bad dates. Bad. We're going to keep it somewhat brief. But, I like to look back on those stories now. They're not always.
Mm.
Right. AM, let's start with your epic bad date story.
Well, since this date happened, and I almost immediately thought of it as the most legendarily bad date I've ever been on. I have been exposed to other bad date stories that really make this pale by comparison. Just some shit like, are y'all making this up? So yes, this is my bad date, and I realize that there are much worse dates to have, but this is a bad date. So, as I am prone to do, I will, keep some of the details out to protect the not innocent, but I don't need to tell all the business. I went out of town on a date. I knew of this man. We had known each other casually for a little bit of time and decided to finally meet up. So I drove out of town to an undisclosed location, met him, and the plan was to hang out some and then have dinner and then see what was up. So we meet, and listen, your girl was going through an experimental phase at the time because he was not attractive to me. Now, I don't have to go out with someone who's traditionally attractive, but they had to be attractive to me. Right. He was not attractive to me, but he was a decent cat from what I could tell, and he made good money. So your girl was trying to figure out how she could get treated a little bit, right?
Just get a check.
He made a good check, good little check. And so, it starts off okay. He's already a little bit more handsy than I would prefer, but not in any of the really hands-off area. Don't touch too much. I don't know you like that. He spends the entire time talking about, we get in the car, spends the entire time talking about his baby's mama and how angry he is and how he hasn't seen his daughter and how she's trying to get all his money and blah, blah, blah. Now we're driving to dinner in another city, and it's about a 40-minute drive, and the entire time he's talking about her. And he had talked about her some before, and I finally was like, hey, man, hey. I'm not really trying to get to know about your situation with your baby's mom. I understand, but I want us to we need to be talking about each other. Let's talk about this. Okay, all right. I was just, okay. No joke. 5 minutes later, he's back on it.
Okay.
Back on the topic. So we eat dinner at a crowded, overrated, not romantic, not even delicious place in a very touristy city. Come back, and I'm ready to roll out. I had to drive home. I don't want I don't want a nightcap. I don't want none of it. He walks me to my car and kisses me. And to date, that's the worst kiss I've ever had.
Oh no.
It was I used to email about my dating trials and tribulations. And I'm pretty sure in the email, when I described it, I said, because this is true, it's like my mouth was a drink and his tongue was a swizzle stick. Circles. It was so awful. And he was aroused. He was pressing it on me. And he was like, girl, see what you did? See what you made happen? I was like, yeah, that's not me. You just haven't had any in a while. I'm not. Don't try to make it. And then got in my car and he was like, he was like, well, hey, there's a gas station right across. Let me just go put some gas in your car. Who don't want gas in the car? Who don't want free gas in the car? Me. We don't want free gas in the car. I was like, no, that's okay. Got on the freeway and was so discombobulated by the whole thing that I ended up going the wrong direction and crossing the bridge, going to a place I didn't want to go. So I had to go across the bridge, get off, come back over the bridge and write myself to go home. And that's really like the Cliff Notes version. It was just, you guys, it was just bad. There wasn't good chemistry. He was kind of, as it turned out, kind of bitter and angry, period. So the next day he called me and I was like, we can't date. We're not going to do this. And he was like, why? And I was like, you're too angry. You got some stuff you need to work through and work out. And I'm just not in the place where I'm going to, sit with you through it. That's not what you just go ahead. You're cool. We can be cool. This fool called me again 2 days later. Hey, I was thinking about coming up there and we can hang out. And then I netted up and was like, we're not gonna date. And then I never heard from him again. Never. And we have people in common. So like he's on the perimeter kind of, but never comes around if I'm around. And I'm not phased. I don't care. We can be cool. We ain't gonna date. Like I said, we can chit chat. We're not gonna date. He looked like Smokey the Bear, you guys, in human fashion. That's really mean, but it's true.
I think that was the first part of male.
He looked like Smokey the Bear, except Smokey the Bear is animated and he's a bear, so he's cute. Smokey the Bear in people, in a person, embodied in a person is not cute. Not cute. It's like a little round afro type. He was Smokey the Bear, but not cute Smokey the Bear, with swizzle stick tongue and an unwelcome erection on my thigh. All of it was bad.
Oh. Yeah.
Terrible. Then I turned around and went the wrong way and it took me like an hour to get right. It was bad. It's bad. Yeah.
I would have gone home and tried to take my thigh off.
Girl! Man! I just don't, listen, if I'm not feeling you, first of all, it's enough that I kissed you. Okay, I figured that was just going to have to be the cost of admission here. There's no graceful way for me to get out of it, so fine. It was bad enough that I went ahead and kissed this fool, but then you're going to press yourself, but get off me, first of all, and I don't like unwelcome hard on. Thank you. The end. I don't like it. No one asked for it.
But girl, you
Don't
did
put that on me. Yeah. I don't control yourself. You're grown. We just kissed. That's all we did. And it wasn't even like, don't put your pent up dickness on me and then try to make me feel like I'm so irresistible that's all me. Get out of here. It's gross. All right. That's it. I get a little irritated when I think about it. I'm just saying. Gross.
Okay, now.
Mauled.
Read it out. You escaped.
I sure did. I escaped and told my girls about it and kiki. That's right.
I wonder if I'll be able to find it.
Please let me know, because I've gone back to look for some of my tales before and I haven't been able to find them. That was my Yahoo account. I think I lost some stuff when I switched over.
That's the same for me, but I might be able to conjure that.
Ah, gross.
So I had, it's my favorite bad date story to tell. Although I have had a few bad dates, fortunately, I've had more good ones than bad. But I was probably 21, 22. Met this dude. I think I met him at a bar or in a club. That's been a club. I didn't really go to bars at that age. So I thought he was kind of cute. And then got my number. We talked a couple days and then he asked me if I wanted to hang out. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. So he agreed he would drive over to my house and I would drive on the date. So drove to my house. We get in my car, we get to the end of the street, just to the corner, and he says, "Ooh, I forgot something." And I'm like, oh, "Okay." So I turn around, go back. He runs to his car, and when he's walking back to my car, what he forgot was his entertainment book of.
Oh boy.
So I'm immediately thinking, I know this fool is not about to to give some coupon action on this date. That's our first date. So I start driving, and as I'm driving, we're deciding where we're gonna go. He starts flipping the book and says, "You can pick anything in here," as if he's flipping through a stack of money.
Oh my
Anywhere you
gosh.
want to go, girl, we can go. And so I said, "Well, listen, I don't really know what's in your little book of coupons. So why don't you go ahead?" So he picks a Mexican restaurant, and it's not anywhere close to my house. So I drive 20 minutes to get to this Mexican restaurant where I had, he said, "Go and get any burrito you want because the second one is half off."
Mm-mm. Oh my gosh.
So we each get a burrito. My burrito, unsatisfactory. Um, he thoroughly enjoyed his. And I think that was mostly because it was half off. So when he finished his, he said, "This burrito is good. Let me see if I got another coupon. I might get another one."
Oh no.
So he did. He found another coupon and then got another burrito. So at this point, I'm thinking, this fool is so damn bootsy with this coupon book, and I'm annoyed, and I want to go home. So after we finish eating, he says, "Hey, do you want to catch a movie?" And I love going to. So I was like, "Oh, a movie, that's cool," because I really ain't got to talk. Okay. So we get back in my car and we go to a movie theater that's like across the street from the restaurant. So he decides he wants to see 7 Years in Tibet. And let me explain to you all that nothing about this man's personality or interest implied he would enjoy seeing 7 Years in Tibet. So I was caught off guard because I was interested in it, but is that what he wants to see? I was like, okay. So we get up to the ticket window. This fool leans in and he says, and I will never forget the employee's name. He said, "Two guests of Frida." And the girl says, "Oh, we'll go on in." Damn it! Are we you got the plug for a free movie?
Oh my gosh.
Frida's your homegirl. That's why we're seeing. And we were at the was it the Cinedome? So if you're not from Sacramento, you don't know, but the Cinedome only played like one or two movies, and you played independent film. And so for him to pick that place in the first place was weird to me. It's shit I would have done, nothing that it seemed he would have done. So because Frida, whoever she is, was his friend, we got in to see 7 Years in Tibet for free. I believe he dozed off several times during the movie. I enjoyed it. But anyway, so after we leave the movie, I'm tired. 7 Years in Tibet takes 7 years to watch. So I'm at this point ready to go home. But it is still daytime. And he says, "Hey, do you want to go miniature golfing?" So now at this point, I am a little annoyed, but I'm also curious. Like, what hookup does he have at the miniature golf spot? Now I must know. I say, okay, and I had never been miniature golfing. So we get to the spot and we get up to the ticket window. I'm waiting for him to pull out a coupon, but he does not have a coupon for this place. So
surely in that entertainment book there was a coupon
for miniature golfing.
He could not locate one. So he says to the child, and I mean child, the teenage boy working in the ticket. He says, "Hey, how much for 2 rounds of golf?" Let's just say the boy said $20. This fool said, "How much if we only play half the hole?"
Oh my gosh.
And the baby said, "You can't just play half the hole. You have to
say no.
Yeah, right.
Half a hole.
So then this clown says, "Well, then how much for one adult and one child?" Who is the child here? So the baby just looked at him like, "Oh, this man is so pathetic." And the baby said, "Don't worry. Oh." And so the child rang us up for 2 children. So we start playing miniature golf. Like I said, I'd never been, didn't know what I was doing. So at one point, he does the typical come up behind me and try to help me with my form so I can get the ball into the hole. And it is at that point I noticed he is musty. So not only do you have a book of coupons and you only go to places that are free and you try to bargain for miniature golf, but you are also fun. So I would like to say that was the last time I hung out with him, but I hung out with him one more time after that. I think I was just bored, and I want y'all to understand it. He said, "Do you want to go eat a Hard Rock Cafe? It just opened in Sacramento. May it rest in peace because that place has been gone. But anyway, it just opened. I had already had dinner, and he said, "Do you want to just go get some dessert?" Okay, that's fine. I'm figuring, how can he ruin dessert? I know he ain't got no coupon because this shit just opened. So we go to Hard Rock Cafe. The server comes. I order a malt. It couldn't have been more than $4 or $5. I'll have a malt. She said, "What will it be for you, sir?" He said, "Oh, nothing for me." You don't have enough money to get a malt, a milkshake, a piece of pie? You don't have shit? Why are we here?
You couldn't even have a cup of coffee, print it off?
Child, some tea, a soda, something. Nope. This fool says nothing for me. And so she looked a little confused and she was like, "Well, okay, I'll be back with your malt." I said, "Thank you." And as soon as that woman walked away, the fool reached into the pocket of his jeans and pulled out a produce bag full of bulk bin candy. And proceeded to eat it at the table. When the server came back with my malt, she jumped, literally, she saw him eating it and she jumped back and she said, "Where did you get that?" And this fool said, "Oh, I brought this from home." He was just okay with, and that was the last time I hung out with him.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, but anyway. So that is my favorite bad date story because the shit is funny. Not funny that day.
Had all the hookups.
How the hell you gonna bring some candy and you don't even have the good candy? You don't have like M&Ms or Reese's Pieces or peanut butter cups or a Twix or a Hershey bar. You got some Costco there, and we didn't even have Costco then, but you got some grocery store dig in the bin with the shovel thing. Who even buys that who's under the age of 65? What are you doing? So anyway.
Oh boy.
That's my bad. I call him Fun Man. So
like that.
Fun story. You guess the Frida.
I think that's my favorite part. Oh, 2 guests for Frida. Oh my God.
Gosh,
I got a little visual too. I have no idea who this cat is or what he looks like, but I just have I don't know. I have a visual and it's
I do too. And I don't even want to know because in my head it's so good.
It is good. It just needs to stay what it is. That's all.
Yep.
Like it is.
I'm gonna let y'all have that.
Thank you. Ramsey, what you got?
Well, I feel like this is unfair because normally my favorite date gone wrong story is a story where we come home and the girl's on the bed, but I've already told you that.
Yes.
Oh, that's an awesome story.
And I would tell the story about how I was on a date, but I didn't think I was on a date. I thought I was just meeting a friend and she thought we were dating and I was confused because no one had ever.
Oh my gosh.
I know Malika remembers that. But okay, so here's.
I do not remember that actually.
You don't remember that? When I worked at the Capitol in Troy's office? And
I working there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that happened, but it wasn't funny. It was just completely embarrassing. And I was taken aback because it was like, oh, what about our exchange led you to believe that I thought we were going on a date? You just said, do you want to have lunch? And I said, yes, but people do that all the time. Anyway, I will tell you this story. So let's see. When I was in probably my sophomore year of high school, I became very militant, and that was a phase that lasted, I would say, probably until I was about 18, which would have been like my third year of college. So at that time, I lived with a woman who, she was my friend. I mean, I guess I thought she was my friend.
Yeah.
And I worked at an answering service. And so part of my job as working at the answering service overnight, because I worked the graveyard shift, was to do the dispatching for the tow truck. We had several tow truck services. So over the course of some time working there, one particular tow truck driver started calling in on the truck line to talk instead of talking over the radio. So we would talk back and forth, and I have no idea what his name is. I'll just call him Troy for fun. So Troy would call in and we would talk, and he wasn't stupid. Like, we would have relatively enjoyable conversations about, nothing in particular, but, whatever. He was on duty. I was clearly needing to be there. And when he called, and it kept me awake so I didn't get in trouble, because there were some times when people came in at 6 and I was asleep. So we, talked back and forth, and he's like, we should talk when you're not at work. And it's like, oh, should we? I don't know if we should do this. And so the reason I tell you about the militant thing is because this was a tow truck service that serviced from Dixon up to like out Marysville kind of way. Mm. And so I was like, well, here's the thing about talking at home. Why would we be doing that? And he's like, well, I just think you're interesting. I want to get to know you, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm Black. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, it's cool, and I was, back from being racist, so it was cool. So before I became racist again in this last year.
Right, that part.
Right. So, we talked at home a couple things, offline, and our at home chat led to some risque conversation, but I was not that interested in what I say his name was Troy is what I'm going to call him. But it was just something to do, it was like, and what I really liked was it happened at a time when my roommate and I weren't exactly seeing eye to eye. So I was like, oh, I've got to call. I'm just call. So we agreed that we would meet. And I was kind of like, and he was pressuring me a lot. Well, what do you look like? What do you look like? What do you look like? And it's like, well, whatever. So my roommate, who I thought was my friend at the time, but one night I was at work and he called the house thinking I was there, and she picked up and talked to him and told him that I looked like Oprah.
Oh,
what in the world?
Woo! Well, so I don't know what it says about.
She was a hating ass hater, so yeah.
This is true. So I don't know what it says about me that didn't clue me in that she wasn't my friend. And I don't know what it says about him that he was like, I'm still down to meet. So we meet. And at this point, our only real reason for meeting is because we've been having this conversation. I'm like, just so you're clear before you drive from like not Placerville, but Marysville, wherever. Like I'm not CTF. Like we're not going to do that because I've seen your picture and it prohibits me from thinking that that's where it's going to go. So I don't want you to spend your tow truck gas money coming down here. Like we're just gonna be kicking it unless you convince me. But otherwise, it's like no, it's cool. And so we came down, and so he took me to Chili's, which whatever, it was his choice. I'm like, but you're 30 and this is your choice. Like I feel very confused. He took me to Chili's and he did not have any of the the conversation was not sparkling over the phone, but it was very uncomfortable. He was very aware that he was in Sacramento and that he was not Black and that I was Black. And so when Black people would walk by, he would make comments like, that did not have anything to do with how he regularly talked. He was like, right on, like crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, why are we doing that? And so very quickly I grew tired and he had no conversation in person. But what did happen after that, we were in his vehicle. He didn't bring the tow truck. We were in his vehicle, so he needed to take me home from Chili's on Howe Avenue. And he drove into Sac State. This was at night, like at the end of the evening. I was like, what are we doing here? And he's like, I just thought we'd park it. Look at the stars. And it was like, all I can see are trees. Like, what are we doing in the parking lot at Sac State? And so then he's like kind of scooting over and talking to me about how it was a long trip. And it was like, listen, just so we're clear, I have a bus pass because that's how I get around anyway. My suggestion is that you take me home because I can get home from here. Like, I know how to get home from Sac State. I've been doing that since I went to Sutter. And so he's like, no, it's fine. I'll take you home. But he did kind of keep trying to lean, extend his hand over into my side of the cab. And it was like, we didn't, like, the date was not good. You're not fresh. Like this, there's nothing.
Not fresh.
Yeah, it was not awesome. And you're clearly very uncomfortable. And I don't know why Oprah didn't make you say. I don't think this is something that I can actually do.
Right.
And I'm concerned about your life that you're 30 years old and you thought you needed to drive to Sacramento just to possibly have sex with someone that you thought looked like Oprah. So
oh boy.
That was a very bad date. It did not bode well for white men in the future, and that was my bad date. I mean, he didn't bring the tow truck. I feel like that would have made the date more fun.
I completely agree. It'd have been awesome if he'd have hooked up some cars to the back of it.
Right. Let you do the whatever. Right. Mash this button. I push it. Mash that right there.
Yes.
That's right.
Mash the button.
Lift the car up. Ooh, fun.
Troy in quotation mark.
Yes, he kind of looked like, on Prison Break, the one that has the fake hand, that Jamie Lannister hand. You know what I'm talking about?
Watch Prison Break.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not attractive if you look at the cast.
But the fact you mentioned Jamie Lannister's hand now has me laughing.
Me too. I was like, wait, unattractive with the Jamie Lannister hand? Okay.
That hand makes no sense. It doesn't do anything helpful. And I know these are olden times or whatever, but damn. They could have at least made him a hand that was kind of, felt like his own hand.
No.
But you're going to give him a big fat ass old hand, and then you're going to tie that shit on and be like, not even here, but and then she going to say, he worked hella hard making that hand. He was like, well, he worked all afternoon putting it together. Come on.
But I like it when Ron.
Huh?
I like Ron was teaching him to fight. Remember, he's like, oh, You're the worst.
That hand is a hot ass mess.
Looking like he's fisting the California bear at the at Cal Expo.
That's nasty.
I mean, the palm is all open. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And why haven't they, in all these seasons, made that man a new hand, or at least a set of hands? You know,
He's
like
a Lannister. You gonna tell me a Lannister can't afford a good fake hand?
Yeah, they got that gold and shit.
Hey.
They could have done better. I mean, he could have like a kung grip hand, and he could have like, you know, an open hand for slapping people, and then he could have a hand where the fingers you could slide a fork in there. He can't even cut his whatever random meat they eat on there.
The damn
better
shit.
talk to Melisande and try to give himself a working.
Let her put a juju on him or something.
That's right.
Something.
Red Death.
He's gonna have to get it together with that sad, heavy ass hand. Anyway. Well, those are some of our bad date stories. I mean, I have many more I could possibly talk about, but unfortunately. But thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Tackling Tomfoolery. I am Mr. Rogers.
I'm Francie Moore.
And I'm A.M. Lewis. Hi, y'all.
I was going to say, and it's 11:41.
Hey, fellow tacklers. We thank you so much for listening to our show. If you're interested in supporting us, we would be ever so grateful. You can donate to the Tackling Tomfoolery podcast at patreon.com/Tackling Tomfoolery. Tackling Tomfoolery is produced by Bren Inman for Evergreen Talent Collective. For more information, find us on the web at www.tacklingtomfoolery.com, on Facebook at Tackling Tomfoolery, and on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, and make sure you rate and review the show, as that helps people find us. If you'd like to contact the show, email us at tacklingtomfoolery@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 916-573-1065. Let us know what tomfoolery you're tackling. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.